Hello, I'm Noreen Masud. I'm a British Pakistani academic and author. I'm the writer of A Flat Place, and I'm really thrilled to be the life writing judge for the 2025 Queen Mary Wasafiri New Writing Prize. Now, I never thought I would get to be a quote-unquote author. I'm not from the kind of family where it was seen as a viable career path. But I did a PhD in English literature. I was really lucky to be able to do that. And in the very early part of my academic career, before I got my now job at the University of Bristol in the English department, in the very early part of my career, I was contacted by an agent asking me if I wanted to write about my research for a non-academic audience. And my research at that time was on flat landscapes in 20th century literature. And I jumped at the chance to talk about how I think these undervalued flat landscapes have so much to tell us, not just about things like wildlife and biodiversity and nature, but in fact they provide, I think, the metaphors for how we might relate to each other a little bit differently, how we might know each other a little bit differently. So along the way, this book about flat landscapes for a non-academic audience turned partly into a memoir about my strange early life in Pakistan before my father disowned me just before I turned 16 and I moved with my mother and my sisters to the UK. And I was very lucky that the book went on to do well. It was shortlisted for the inaugural Women's Prize for Non-Fiction, and it was the gateway, I guess, into being able to judge this amazing prize. What I'm looking for, I think, is life writing which surprises me, which doesn't get caught up in trying to predict what its audience wants to read, which is interested in pursuing its own thing with great seriousness and commitment, which takes risks, which isn't afraid to be difficult or contrary or unruly in genuinely original ways. I'm looking for accounts of lives which tell stories in strange ways, which bring odd kinds of life into the light, or which use language in ways that genuinely stirs me up. Beautiful writing is lovely, but what I'm really excited by is language which makes me sit up straight, which surprises me. My favourite kind of writing is writing that makes me feel like a cat whose fur is being stroked backwards, caught between moments of kind of pleasure and astonishment, I guess. I can't wait to read your entries. Remember to get them in by the deadline of 30th June 2025. Good luck.